America, land of the free, home of the brave. Well, sort of. Imagine a society where you're not allowed to shout your own opinions or express your concern no matter the issue. Unfortunately, we're already halfway there. Music censorship happens on a daily basis, and it negatively affects musicians and listeners across the world. So, we should allow all types of music to make the United States become a free nation once more. Being a musician of 13 years, I understand the importance of expressing oneself through lyrics and through music. And after hours of research, gathering statistics, and graphical analysis, I found that music censorship needs to be put to a stop. Today, I'd like to talk about the negative effects that music censorship has on personal freedoms, how we can allow all types of music and listen appropriately, as well as the positive effects it would have on society without these laws. First, let's take a look at the negative effects that music censorship has on musicians and listeners. Music censorship directly restricts personal freedoms. But what is music censorship exactly? Well, Martin Clunan, an expert on this ideal, explains that the best way to understand music censorship is to categorize it into 3 different levels. The first would be prior restraint, or not allowing a certain song to be released to distribution platforms. The second would be to restrict it from being sold in certain stores, played on certain radios, and on other media platforms. And the third would be to restrict the song from being performed anywhere, or even deeming the music illegal. Music censorship directly restricts freedom of expression in musicians. After gathering results from a survey I conducted, I found that 1 in 2 people believe music censorship laws have no effect on the release rights of musicians. However, Free Muses Are Under Threat campaign shows that this is not true at all. In the year 2016, there were 1,028 total violations. Out of these, 840 of them were musicians being censored in their music. Karen Hald, a defender of universal music rights, explains that unless the lyrics are inciting violence or defamatory towards certain groups, they can never legally be prohibited, because this would be prohibiting one's freedom of speech. Next, I'd like to talk about how we can get rid of music censorship laws and still listen appropriately. All music should be allowed, as long as appropriate protocols are followed. Gavin Ratcliffe, a journalist on this ideal, explains that negative lyrics could affect the youth in a negative way. And while this problem is certainly one to worry about, I believe that if we place appropriate limits on responsible listening, we can avoid music censorship and these negative effects altogether. The first would be to enact some sort of age restriction, similar to YouTube's guidelines. The second would be to, before a song is released to media platforms, it should have an identical clean version, so if given the choice, you could choose between clean instead of the explicit. The third would be to hold adults responsible for keeping music that is vulgar to or harmful to youth out of the ears at cars and at home. Now that you know a few ways we can avoid music censorship and listen appropriately, let's talk about the positive effects society would have without these laws. Without these laws, it would positively affect musicians and society. No music censorship laws means no violation of personal freedoms. The UCLA, or Union Civil Liberties Association, explains that when talking about the freedom of speech, the Supreme Court ruled that there must be clear and present danger that the audience will act illegally after hearing such speech. However, there's no evidence that an audience would react violently after hearing a certain song. Therefore, it should be illegal to restrict music in the first place. Some also argue that vulgar lyrics may prove beneficial. For example, vulgar lyrics could help listeners relate to social problems that are happening all around the world, such as minority group struggles or political opinions. Dark themes could then inversely shed light on problems that need to be brought attention to, whether that's police brutality, gang violence, or drug abuse. As you can see, music censorship is not only unconstitutional, but it potentially suppresses issues that need to be brought attention to. And as music censorship laws restrict personal freedoms, the only way to grant these personal freedoms back is to allow all types of music, as long as we listen appropriately and responsibly. Hopefully by now you know about the plague that is music censorship and how it has a negative effect on society, how to listen appropriately, and the positive effects society would have without these music censorship laws. Join the fight to stop music censorship now and help America become a free nation once more by becoming a member or donating to the National Coalition Against Censorship. You can go to their website at ncac.org for further information and help. Are you going to allow legislation to limit the personal freedoms of your family, yourself, and your friends? Or are you going to stand your ground and put an end to this tyranny? Thank you so much.